Did you see that Antifa was trying to bust into and burn the courthouse in Portland?
Again?
Yeah, there were stories of it last night, but I have good news, which is it happened at night. And according to Merrick Garland, or as Claire McCaskill likes to call him, Garland Merrick, it doesn't count if it's at night. So we're all good.
That's right. Hey, I'd forgotten about that wonderful statement that he made. You're right. It's not even a misdemeanor, is it? It just doesn't count.
It's like the curfew with the virus. No one can explain this.
207 says that sparklers are to be avoided because they might set your paper face mask on fire.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think of that.
Now, but on the other hand, you could get an asbestos face mask, but then that leads to other problems, as we all know.
There's so many issues. Hey, Howie, I have a statement here from Vox. It was a little excerpt from one of their columns, and this guy I follow put it out there, but I have to read you this because you're never going to believe whose fault it is that Biden won't hold press conferences. This is one of the most astounding statements I've ever seen. Even for the mainstream media, this is really bad, okay?
Donald Trump?
Oh, well, of course. That was a rhetorical question. I knew you knew the answer. While he's answered questions from reporters in informal settings numerous times and held a CNN town hall, Biden has now gone 50 days without holding a formal news conference. It'd be ideal for him to do one, but there are many good reasons he hasn't yet. The urgent public health and economic crises he inherited, a pandemic that complicates logistics, and the legacy former President Donald Trump left of presidential news conferences doubling as hate spectacles.
Wow, I hadn't thought of that.
They're really stretching lately to, cover for Joe Biden.
Hate spectacles.
It's quite sad.
As opposed to a hate fest.
Right. Two different things.
Or a hate binge. A hate spectacle. All right.
And of course, Howie, I know this is an issue near and dear to your heart, so I wanted to bring it up. Daylight saving time bill reintroduced and pushed to end antiquated practice. I talked a little bit about this today. I'm all for ending it, but I've never talked to anyone who's super pro daylight saving. So I don't know if I'm missing the other side.
I like daylight savings time.
You like it?
So keeping daylight savings all year round means there's no time change.
Yeah, I think, Grace, you may be confused. I think you were confused in your whole poll question today.
I'm very confused now. I'm only realizing it a couple hours too late, though.
The bill that's been introduced would end Eastern Standard Time and put daylight savings time in year-round.
So which one gets me more sunlight?
I think it's daylight savings.
Okay, cool. Then I'm down for that.
So
isn't that just
all the stuff you've been talking about for the last 3 hours on your show, never mind.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone here who's been listening to it and said nothing the entire time.
How many press conferences were in my ear today?
So appreciated. Thank you to everyone.
Talk
what
to
a
your
team.
producer.
Yikes. At least it was just the poll question.
Spring forward, fall back.
I'm falling back
Taylor doesn't want anything to do with it because he gets confused by those four words.
I don't get confused by it. Well, my sleep cycle gets confused.
I would make fun of you, but clearly I get confused easily. All right, moving on. Biden White House won't join Democrats deserting Governor Cuomo. This is a strange take because usually Biden and his administration is quick to kind of jump on the bandwagon with people, but they're really holding out for Andy Cuomo.
I can give you a 2-word explanation of why they're not joining the lynch mob against Cuomo.
Why is that?
Tara Reid.
Oh, yeah. That's actually really, really a good point. I know, Tara Reid, and you don't hear much about her anymore.
What Biden is accused of by Tara Reid is worse than anything any of these people have said. I mean, as boorish and as crude and as rotten as Andrew Cuomo behaves, Joe Biden, if you believe Tara Reid, was worse.
Oh, yeah, 1,000%. And I do believe Tara Reid because She seemed very credible. And when she came forward, it was still part of the movement of Believe All Women, which has recently kind of taken a step back. Howie, I wanted to play a little bit of sound here, if you don't mind. I find this Cuomo stuff to be amazing. I know that you've read the piece at this point from New York Magazine. Howie, I know this piece isn't the most damaging out of all of them, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it kind of like weaves everything together too, and that this goes back a very long way with Cuomo, and that he is just one thing that really that I don't like about the piece is the woman is the writer is trying to make him seem as terrible as possible, and being as she's a writer for New York Magazine, the way she can make him the worst possible human being ever to live is to say he's the Democrat twin to guess who? Donald Trump.
No, they don't get to do that now because he was a foil just a couple months ago. And now he's a twin. Give me a break.
No, they're twins. They're the flip side. There's a quote in there that says the only difference between the two of them is that Fred Trump is Donald Trump's father and Mario Cuomo is Andrew Cuomo's father.
Wowzers. Well, let's play some of the sound from Cuomo. This is from his press conference today, Taylor, when he was on the phone. And Taylor, you've been able to listen to it more than I have. So just play whatever you think is a good sound. I know that one where he talks about women having motivations for accusing him of things is pretty good.
I won't speculate about people's possible motives, but I can tell you as a former attorney general who's gone through this situation many times, there are often many motivations for making an allegation.
Like you have to be an attorney general to understand why some woman might be angry about some guy treating her like a piece of crap.
Howie, I know he doesn't like comparisons to The Godfather unless he's, sitting with Dr. Fauci and, talking a big game. But when he's saying that line, you can almost hear like, dun, 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 dun. It sounds like he's threatening the people on the phone call. Like,
play cut 28, Jared. Taylor. Play cut 28. This is the guy. He's the ultimate beneficiary of white privilege and political dynasties. But of course, he denies everything. Cut 28.
Let the review proceed. I'm not going to resign. I was not elected by the politicians. I was elected by the people. Part of this is that I am not part of the political club. And you know what? I'm proud of it.
That's interesting.
But like moments later, he says that he's been in the public eye for 40 years, starting with, heading up his father's campaign.
Right.
Hey, Cuomo.
The people of the state, look, they have known me for 40 years. They elected me attorney general. They elected me governor 3 times. I have been in the public eye my entire life. My entire life, I have been under public scrutiny since I was 23 years old and ran my father's campaign.
Yeah, when I think Washington outsider or political outsider, I think Andrew Cuomo. He's a real renegade.
Can I play my most favorite cut from the day?
Of course.
Serious allegations should be weighed seriously, right? That's why they are called serious.
Oh my gosh, he's so condescending.
He's as stupid as Fredo Cuomo. I never knew that.
Well, he keeps saying,
sometimes it is better to remain silent and be thought a fool or a bore than to open one's mouth and remove all doubt.
Yellow is called yellow because it's bright, and that's why they call it yellow.
Well, it's crazy because he said before, my lawyers told me not to come out here and talk to you guys. And I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, because they know what you're going to do. If this is what they thought you were going to do, they were right. You should not come out. And he just keeps digging and digging. Howie, a side note before I leave you here, University of Pennsylvania final exam requires nursing students to ask imaginary patients their preferred pronouns. Hence, and somebody commented beneath it.
Just give me a pill. I'm in pain.
That was literally the
Ask me about my pronouns after I get a pill.
Someone wrote, entering the emergency room, gushing blood. Nurse, but what is your preferred pronoun? Really is wacky. All right, guys, I will be back later for Police Blotter Facts Friday. Don't miss it. We have tons of stories.
See, I'm the only one who remembers this. But there's some people listening to us who remember this. Kevin White's last term, his last run for mayor in 1979. He was the loner in love with the shitty. The loner in love with the shitty of Boston. And now that's what Andrew Cuomo is. He's not a political insider. Just because his father was the governor for 3 terms and he named the bridge, the biggest bridge coming into the city from the north after his father. And his brother has a piss poor TV show on CNN. But he's not and he's married into the Kennedy family, but he's not a political insider.
And Howie, honestly, it would be less painful if Fredo had a show. I mean, not that there's many like this, but if he had more of a Rachel Maddow show where he was just going over stories and kind of reading from a script, but his whole show is him delivering these virtue signaling monologues about how bad Republicans are and how evil they are. And it was painful in the beginning, but now watching it, it's laughable. Like looking at him and he looks, he does that look into the camera, like he's so sincere and he's so appalled with Republicans. And I just keep thinking to myself, we're supposed to take advice from you?
I exactly, Grace. Well put.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks, Grace. Now, what are you going to do with the clocks on Saturday?
It depends. It depends how I'm feeling. Put it out to a poll. I mean, just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean I have to do it.
Okay, Grace.
It's like if someone told you to jump off the Cuomo Bridge, would you do it?
No, I wouldn't. As much as I like that bridge, or I like the old bridge, the new bridge, you don't have to jump off.
Structural integrity of that bridge.
Yeah, you don't have to jump. Just stand there, and you'll be in the water fairly soon, apparently, according to all the news stories I'm reading. All right, thank you, Grace. Talk to you later.
All right, thanks, guys.
Hotels, vets, and dentists all have purchased multiple units of the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, which is why Eden Pure has done it again. For the first time ever, for our listeners only, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier 3-pack. You'll get 3 units. I only got 2 in my hands because I only got 2 hands. 3 units for under $200 and save $200. 1 for your basement, first floor, and second floor, all in one purchase. You've heard Dr. Matt on my show. He had 1 Thunderstorm, couldn't believe how effective it was. So he bought 2 more for his clinic. He also got 1 for his son's stinky cat. If you have enough, you can give a Thunderstorm to a loved one as a gift. With the 3-pack, you can now enjoy clean air everywhere in your house or workplace. It's been months that we've been talking about the Thunderstorm Air Purifier. People still ask me if it really works. Not only does it really work, it works in hours. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier is so small and light that you can hold it in your hand and plug it right into the wall. The best part is you don't have to replace any air filters, which of course saves you time and money. Other air purifiers can cost up to $600 for just 1 unit. The Eden Pure Air Purifier can handle pet, kitchen, or tobacco odors or that damp smell lingering in your basement. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie3 to save $200 on their special 3-pack. EdenPure.com, code word Howie3. This special is for 1 week only. It's ending. If you want to get this great deal, act now. I'm Howie Carr.
A nightmare to liberals everywhere. He's Howie Carr.